I literally have mold on my bread within 4 days. Like, it's crazy.
Wait, you mean to tell me that bread in the US doesn't mold or get hard after 5 days? What are you putting in there? L'Oreal Revitalift?
This is German soft bread, bought 2 weeks ago, and now mold. And this? American soft bread, 10 weeks old. Looks still fresh, right? No mold, no life. If even mold won't eat it, should you?
Mold forming on bread is a clear sign that the bread is made with natural ingredients and lacks harmful chemical preservatives, which are designed to prevent microbial growth but can disrupt gut health and hormone balance over time. Real food spoils. It breaks down naturally, just like any living thing, whereas overly processed, preservative-laden bread can sit untouched for weeks without a single sign of life, which should raise more concern than a bit of mold ever will.
Many US foods contain preservatives banned or restricted in the European Union. Longer shelf life, but at what costs? Real food goes bad. Choose natural, choose wisely.
What is up with American bread? I bought the most wholemealy, full of grains, quote unquote healthy sliced bread I could find. And this is sweet! Sweet as a mother. Americans have which brands do I buy at the supermarket that is not going to be sweet? What is up with it?
Bread was never meant to be sweet. It was designed to be a staple, not a dessert. The modern trend of loading bread with sugar, even in savory loaves, is part of the larger sugar saturation that's quietly fueling America's obesity crisis. Sugar spikes insulin, encourages fat storage, and keeps people hooked in a constant cycle of cravings and crashes. When even a sandwich starts with hidden sugar, it's no wonder the line between food and addiction is getting thinner, and waistlines are not.
Fun fact, in Europe, they don't consider American bread bread. Because of the amount of sugar in it, it's considered more like a cake or a dessert. It wasn't until I came to Europe that I realized bread is not supposed to last a week and beyond. I go to the bakery just about every day to get a baguette, a fresh one, super cheap. And if I want bread that I can slice, they have so many options. Or this. I can slice it up to make sandwiches or anything else that you could do with regular ass bread. And let me tell you from experience, it does not last a week. That bread maybe lasts 2 days tops, and then it gets hard as hell. At that point, I'll just blend it up and make breadcrumbs. But it doesn't last as bread. I didn't realize how much I was being poisoned in the US until I left the US and realized that a lot of this stuff is banned in other countries. My stomach got a complete reset in Europe. You should give it a try.
American bread is not allowed in Europe because it's not legally classified as bread. Question is, who is to blame here? Is it the company or is it the government? I'd say it's America's insane lobbying. It's a legalized form of corruption. But that's where I'm a bigger fan of European policy. Here in Estonia, I've had the benefit of meeting various people who work in the government, and I look at the policy that they are enacting. For example, in Estonia, 51% of the country is forested. Everything grown here is certified organic. All of this is law. I hate to break it to you, but if you live in the United States and you buy bread, it's not bread. It's a commercial, weird product that here in Europe, we cannot even consider food. And that's what you're putting in your body.
U.S. bread wouldn't last a day on a European shelf, not just because of taste, but because of what's in it. In most developed countries, food quality is protected by strict regulations that ban harmful additives and prioritize freshness, tradition, and nutrition. European nations bake bread daily with simple ingredients like flour, water, yeast, and salt. No high fructose corn syrup, no bleaching agents, no shelf life extenders. And despite this higher standard, it remains affordable because food is treated as a public health priority, not a profit engine. In much of the world, what Americans call bread is seen as a processed product, not real food.
The bread specifically, when I go to other countries, I can eat a lot more bread and feel way less bloated and inflamed. And here in the United States, I swear on my life, I have one piece of bread and I do not know what they put in that, but I am immediately feeling like absolute crap.
We want to turn now to a series of stories that we are doing this week on how U.S. food regulations have left American consumers exposed to chemicals and additives that have been banned in other countries. CBS's Holly Williams goes in depth to show us how some of these ingredients may be linked to cancer and other health-related issues.
From baguettes to focaccia, Europe is famous for its bread, but one ingredient is missing: Potassium bromate is a suspected carcinogen that's banned for human consumption in Europe as well as China and India, but legal in the US, where it's used by some food makers to strengthen dough and estimated to be present in over 100 products.
Potassium bromate is classified as a possible human carcinogen, and for good reason. It's been linked to kidney, thyroid, and gastrointestinal cancers in lab studies, and it's banned in nearly every developed country except the US. It's used in bread to make dough rise higher and whiter, but trace amounts often remain after baking, exposing consumers to a chemical that doesn't belong anywhere near food. Its continued use in the US is not about safety. It's about cutting costs and boosting appearance while ignoring long-term health risks. Ingesting potassium bromate isn't just unsafe, it's reckless.
There is evidence that it may be toxic to human consumers, that it may even either initiate or promote the development of tumours.
Professor Eric Millstone is an expert on food additives and told us European countries take a much more cautious approach to food safety.
Can we say for sure that these differences in regulations mean that people in the US have developed cancers that they would not have developed if they'd been eating only in Europe?
I think that is almost certainly the conclusion that we could reach.
It's not just potassium bromate, but many other chemicals and substances that are banned here in Europe over health concerns, but considered safe by the FDA.
The FDA has a track record of not protecting the American public from harmful food additives, instead bending to the will of powerful corporate lobbies that bankroll the processed food industry. While other developed nations ban substances like potassium bromate, artificial dyes, and BHA for their proven links to cancer, hormonal disruption, and behavioral issues, the FDA continues to allow them, often based on outdated studies or industry-sponsored science. This isn't just negligence, it's systemic corruption that puts profit above health, turning everyday food into a slow-acting threat with the government's stamp of approval.
Do you think most Americans are aware that they're being exposed to substances that are viewed as dangerous over here?
They probably just think, well, if it's available and it's in the store, then it's probably fine.
Stacey McNamara is from upstate New York, but has been living in London for 10 years. She told us raising children on this side of the Atlantic has opened her eyes to what's allowed in food in the US. She has no plans to ever move back home.
And is food safety a part of that decision?
For sure, yeah. How am I going to protect my children when it's just everywhere?
America has failed its citizens not just through broken systems and widening inequality, but in the most basic and overlooked places, like the food they eat every single day. Something as simple and universal as bread, which should be safe and nourishing, is laced with ingredients like potassium bromate, high fructose corn syrup, and chemical preservatives banned in most developed countries for their proven links to cancer, diabetes, and hormonal dysfunction. This isn't ignorance. It's a deliberate choice to prioritize corporate profit over human health. When you can't even trust a sandwich not to harm you, that's not just a policy failure, it's a moral one. At every turn, it seems America chooses exploitation over protection, unaffordable health care, poisoned water in poor communities, skyrocketing living costs, and a food system designed for shelf life instead of human life. Citizens are told to take personal responsibility for their health while being fed toxic products, denied transparency, and priced out of real choices. It doesn't feel like love, it feels like abandonment. A nation that truly valued its people wouldn't let profit poison their plates.
In a statement to CBS News, the FDA said that when used properly, potassium bromate converts to a harmless substance during food production. But at the same time, Nora, it acknowledged that not all potassium bromate may convert, saying control measures can minimize the amount in food.
This is 2 years old. There's no mold on this whatsoever.
2 years ago.
2 years ago, we purchased this bread. On the weekend, we got engaged and we kept it for a year. We did a year update and we kept it for another year. So it is 2 years old.
Just sitting on a shelf in the garage, not in a fridge.
Not in the freezer, not in a fridge, in a hot garage. We have moved and brought this with us. 2 2-year-old
Show
bread.
me how soft it is. It's still soft.
Is it soft? Look at that.
All right, let's put it back in there.
Should we do a 3-year update?
We'll check back in next September.